We're going to look at the types of muscle tissue now. We've got three types of muscle tissue: skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. Now, skeletal muscle is probably, when somebody says the word muscle to you, what you're likely to picture. So they're the muscles of the skeleton, the ones that when we go to the gym, we try and train and tone up or beef up, whatever you want to call it. That's your skeletal muscles. That's what a bodybuilder or a fitness model is generally judged on by the size and the symmetry and the definition of their skeletal muscles. Cardiac is the muscle that's specifically found in the heart. So our heart tissue is cardiac muscle. Only place you're going to find it. And then smooth muscle are the muscles within the organs, the internal organs and our arteries and things. So our digestive system and the arteries are made up of this smooth muscle. Now they do share some characteristics. So skeletal muscle is also known as voluntary muscle, but it's also referred to as being striated. Now striated means that if we were to cut the muscle up, it's made of lots of different fibres. Now this is the same as cardiac, so cardiac is also striated, so we can refer to skeletal and cardiac as striated muscle. And if you look at bodybuilders, when they're very, very lean and they're on stage and they're competing, they have, you can actually see the striations in their body, when they're dehydrated and the veins are popping out, but you can actually see the lines and the striations. I would show you now, but I'm quite hydrated at the moment, so you probably wouldn't see them very well. So that's skeletal muscle. Fooling myself here, convincing myself. Now, I mentioned that is under conscious control or voluntary control. That's obviously completely different to these two, because these are under unconscious or involuntary control. So cardiac muscle, we don't have to tell it to contract, whereas skeletal muscle, we can tell it to contract. Luckily, because if we went to sleep at night, we wouldn't wake up in the morning because we would forget to tell our hearts to beat. So that just happens without us telling it to. Smooth is the same, so our arteries contract and relax, and our digestive system does its work, involuntary. But the difference between these two is that smooth muscle isn't striated, which is why we refer to it as being smooth. If you're in a butcher's and you look at the meat they have in the on the counter, like a liver, if you look at a liver, it's very, very smooth. That's what we're sort of picturing, really smooth muscle. So skeletal is striated and is under conscious control, which we call voluntary. Cardiac, also striated, but under unconscious control, or involuntary, we call that. Smooth muscle, not striated, smooth, but also, like cardiac, involuntary, which means it's under unconscious control.